U.S. President Donald Trump has thrust himself back into the global spotlight. He claims to have made significant progress in negotiating peace between Russia and Ukraine. President Trump, known for his unconventional diplomatic style, has spoken directly with both Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. He has announced potential peace negotiations, expressing confidence in his ability to bring the conflict to an end. President Trump's announcement has sent shockwaves through the international community. Some view it as a potential breakthrough, a much-needed intervention in a devastating war. Others are skeptical, questioning President Trump's motives and his ability to deliver on his promises. They point to his past record of unpredictable and often contradictory foreign policy decisions. President Trump's proposed peace plan remains shrouded in ambiguity. However, his public statements suggest a willingness to consider concessions from both sides. This has raised concerns that Ukraine, the victim of an unprovoked invasion, may be pressured into making unacceptable compromises. The world watches with bated breath as President Trump attempts to navigate the treacherous path to peace in Ukraine. His success or failure could have far-reaching consequences for the future of Europe and the global order. President Zelensky has publicly framed recent developments as a sign of American-Ukrainian unity. However, there is palpable anxiety in Kiev. Ukraine finds itself at a critical juncture, its future hanging precariously in the balance. The possibility of a negotiated settlement, while offering a glimmer of hope for an end to the bloodshed, raises serious concerns about Ukraine's long-term security and sovereignty. President Trump's suggestion that Ukraine's pre-2022 borders might not be a realistic objective has fueled these anxieties. The potential loss of territory, particularly the Crimean Peninsula and the Donbas region, is a bitter pill for Ukraine to swallow. These areas hold significant economic and strategic value. Adding to Ukraine's uncertainty is the question of its NATO aspirations. Ukraine's bid for membership in the alliance has been a major point of contention with Russia. While Zelensky has publicly downplayed the significance of NATO membership in recent days, it remains a deeply sensitive issue for Ukraine. The Ukrainian people have endured unimaginable suffering throughout the conflict. They have shown remarkable resilience and determination in defending their homeland. As the international community grapples with the complexities of a potential peace deal, it is crucial to remember the human cost of this war and the importance of securing a just and lasting peace for Ukraine. President Trump's announcement has been met with a mixture of cautious optimism and deep unease in European capitals. While European leaders acknowledge the need for a peaceful resolution to the conflict, they are wary of President Trump's approach. They fear that his willingness to engage with Putin could undermine international efforts to hold Russia accountable for its aggression. European unity, a cornerstone of the West's response to the Ukraine crisis, is showing signs of strain. The economic fallout from the war has hit European economies hard. The influx of refugees has also tested the social fabric of many countries. Public support for continued military and financial aid to Ukraine is waning in some quarters. The rise of right-wing populist parties, many of which have expressed sympathy for Putin or criticized sanctions against Russia, has further complicated the picture. These parties have exploited public anxieties about the war to advance their own agendas. Europe is grappling with fundamental questions about its own security architecture in a world where the United States is increasingly focused on the challenge from China. There is a growing recognition that Europe needs to take on a more assertive role in its own defense. This will require increased military spending and a greater willingness to project power beyond its borders. Russia has made it clear that it is prepared to negotiate an end to the conflict, but only on its own terms. The Kremlin insists on the recognition of realities on the ground, a euphemism for its annexation of Crimea and control over parts of eastern Ukraine. Moscow also demands that Ukraine renounce its NATO aspirations and adopt a neutral foreign policy. This would effectively transform Ukraine into a buffer state between Russia and the West, severely limiting its sovereignty and independence. For Ukraine, accepting these demands would represent a significant setback. It would mean relinquishing control over sovereign territory and abandoning its right to determine its own future. It would also set a dangerous precedent, rewarding Russia for its aggression and emboldening other authoritarian regimes. The stakes in these negotiations could not be higher. The outcome will determine the fate of millions of Ukrainians and shape the security landscape of Europe for generations to come. Section 5. Ukraine's resilience and the importance of sovereignty. Despite the immense challenges it faces, Ukraine has demonstrated remarkable resilience in the face of Russian aggression. The Ukrainian people have shown unwavering courage and determination in defending their homeland. Their resistance has shattered the myth of Russian military might and inspired the world. Ukraine's defiance is a testament to the enduring power of national identity and the yearning for freedom. It is a stark reminder that sovereignty is not a bargaining chip to be traded away in backroom deals. The international community must not waver in its support for Ukraine's right to self-determination. A peace settlement that rewards Russia for its aggression would be a betrayal of the Ukrainian people and a blow to the rules-based international order. The West must continue to provide Ukraine with the military, economic, and humanitarian assistance it needs to defend itself and rebuild its shattered economy. This is not only a moral imperative but also a strategic necessity. Section 6. The long road to lasting peace. Achieving a just and lasting peace in Ukraine will be a long and arduous process. It will require sustained diplomatic engagement, unwavering international pressure on Russia, and a commitment to upholding Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. The international community must learn from the mistakes of the past. The Minsk agreements, which were intended to end the conflict in eastern Ukraine in 2014 and 2015, ultimately failed because they were not adequately enforced. Russia was allowed to violate the terms of the agreements with impunity. Any future peace deal must be backed by a robust verification and enforcement mechanism. This will require a united front from the West and a willingness to impose meaningful costs on Russia if it violates the terms of the agreement. The human cost of the war in Ukraine is immeasurable. Millions of Ukrainians have been displaced from their homes. Thousands have been killed or wounded. The physical destruction is staggering. Rebuilding Ukraine will require a massive international effort. Section 7. The U.S. pivot to China and its implications. The United States' strategic pivot towards the Indo-Pacific region, driven by the growing rivalry with China, has added another layer of complexity to the Ukraine crisis. The Biden administration has made it clear that it views China as the most significant long-term challenge to U.S. interests. This shift in focus has raised concerns in Europe that the United States may be less willing to commit resources and attention to European security in the future. The Trump administration's decision to withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal and the Intermediate-Range Nuclear Forces Treaty further fueled these anxieties. The Biden administration has sought to reassure its European allies of its continued commitment to NATO and European security. However, the Ukraine crisis has highlighted the need for Europe to take on a greater share of the burden for its own defense. The United States will continue to play a vital role in European security for the foreseeable future. However, the transatlantic alliance must adapt to the changing geopolitical landscape. Europe must be prepared to shoulder more responsibility for its own defense. Section 8. The complexities of a just and stable resolution. The path to a just and stable resolution in Ukraine is fraught with obstacles. The deep mistrust between Russia and the West, the complexities of the conflict itself, and the shifting geopolitical landscape all pose significant challenges. A sustainable peace agreement must address the legitimate security concerns of all parties involved. This includes Ukraine, Russia, and NATO. It must also uphold Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity while providing security guarantees to prevent future aggression. The international community must be prepared to remain engaged for the long haul. There will be setbacks and disappointments along the way. However, the pursuit of a just and lasting peace in Ukraine is essential for the future of Europe and the rules-based international order. The stakes could not be higher. The outcome of the conflict will have profound implications for the future of international security, the global balance of power, and the very principles of sovereignty and self-determination. Section 9. A fragile peace risks and uncertainties. Even if a peace agreement is reached, the road ahead will be fraught with risks and uncertainties. The legacy of mistrust between Russia and the West will be difficult to overcome. There is a real danger that Russia could use a ceasefire to regroup and rearm, only to launch another attack on Ukraine in the future. The international community must remain vigilant in monitoring Russia's compliance with any peace agreement. Strong deterrence measures will be essential to prevent further aggression. This will require a united front from the West, and a willingness to impose meaningful costs on Russia if it violates its commitments. The human cost of the war in Ukraine is a stark reminder of the importance of peace. The international community must spare no effort to ensure that the sacrifices made by the Ukrainian people are not in vain. The pursuit of peace is a noble and necessary endeavor. It is a journey that requires patience, perseverance, and an unwavering commitment to justice. The world must not rest until a just and lasting peace is achieved in Ukraine.
So hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and let's turn the page on a new adventure together. Get ready to experience books like never before, only on VBook 360. Like, comment, and share to support the channel and keep the video magic alive. Thank you for stopping by. And remember, every video has a story, and every story deserves to be shared. See you in the next video.